This is the algorithm. Times table.
To earn respect.
Memorize your times table.
To earn respect.
Prescription from Dr. H.
We breathe in life and light in patterns of 12. The alveoli open and close 12 times a minute. 12 times an hour. The Botzinger complex creates a sigh. The Botzinger complex is also the actual human beatbox. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic. The total work week, or 5 days, equals 120 hours. Your 12 pints of red blood cells live 120 days. Impulses travel neurons at 120 meters a second. There is 120,000 miles of lymph vessels. Blood sugar levels top at 120, the rough equivalent of a 6A1C. Electrons per atom also top at 120. Red blood cells spin, creating a vortex through the 12 gates of the heart into the Y septum. Make note that the heart is 12 centimeters or 12 royal fingers in length itself, pumping 12 pints of blood. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic.
Spend time paying attention, balancing your interests to earn respect, so you'll never have.
The 12 pints of red blood cells then make the 60,000-mile journey every 60 seconds, only possible by the structuring of water. Eerily similar to the 60-mile-high electric field around Earth when charged. The 60 mitochondria DNA codons powering the little FO wall clocks. F equals 60, setting the frequency, the brain, max speed of awareness to information, processing speed is 60 bits per second. That 60 is divine mathematics from the almanac. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic.
Spend time paying attention, balancing your interests to earn respect, so you'll never have to save face.
Cells have their own carbon-12 cycle. Much like the algae of the planet recycle carbon into pigments, we recycle carbon-12 to make nucleotides. This is called the tricarboxylic acid cycle. A major portion of the tricarboxylic acid cycle is B12, the major purpose of which is to feed the mitochondria so they can recycle our ATP. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic. The mitochondria have an assembly line called the electron transport chain. These mitochondria cannot function without melanocytes, melanosomes, and of course melanin. This assembly line recycles phosphorus so our cells can produce light to earn respect. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic. The electron transport chain has 5 sections or 5 cytochromes: cyto, cell, chrome, color or pigment. Cytochrome is the cellular pigments. The 5th is the ATPase pump or turbine. The base of this unit or FO motor, the counterclockwise clepsydra, has 9 to 12 components that cycle protons to power the pump. Each ATP must be utilized with magnesium. Magnesium is atom number 12 on the periodic table. The 12-unit FO water clock creates the 12 kBT energy that must bind to the 12th atom on the periodic table. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic. 7.3 kcals per mole divided by 0.60 equals 12. The ATP has an average value of 12 kBT in available energy. A mole, based on the historical definition of the mole, as the amount of substance that corresponds to the number of atoms in 12 grams of carbon-12. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic. The EnQi cycle sits at the center of motion in the cytoplasm. Structuring water molecules creates pools of free electrons.
This is the algorithm. Times table.
To earn respect.
Memorize your times table.
To earn respect.
Prescription from Dr.
To earn
H.
respect.
We breathe in life and light in patterns of 12. The alveoli open and close 12 times a minute. 12 times an hour, the Botzinger complex creates a sigh. The Botzinger complex is also the actual human beatbox.
To earn respect.
This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic. The total work week, or 5 days, equals 120 hours. Your 12 pints of red blood cells live 120 days. Impulses travel neurons at 120 meters a second. There is 120,000 miles of lymph vessels. Blood sugar levels top at 120, the rough equivalent of a 6A1C. Electrons per atom also top at 120. Red blood cells spin, creating a vortex through the 12 gates of the heart into the Y septum. Make note that the heart is 12 centimeters or 12 royal fingers in length itself, pumping 12 pints of blood. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic.
Spend time paying attention, balancing your interests to earn respect, so you'll never have.
The 12 pints of red blood cells then make the 60,000 mile journey every 60 seconds, only possible by water. Eerily similar to the 60-mile high electric field around Earth when charged. The 60 mitochondria DNA codons powering the little FO wall clocks. F equals 6, F0 is another 60, setting the frequency, the brain, max speed of awareness to information, processing speed is 60 bits per second. That 60 is divine mathematics from the almanac. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic.
Spend time paying attention, balancing your interests to earn respect, so you'll never have to save face.
Cells have their own carbon-12 cycle. Much like the algae of the planet recycle carbon into pigments, we recycle carbon-12 to make nucleotides. This is called the tricarboxylic acid cycle. A major portion of the tricarboxylic acid cycle is B12, the major purpose of which is to feed the mitochondria so they can recycle our ATP. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic. The mitochondria have an assembly line called the electron transport chain. These mitochondria cannot function without melanocytes, melanosomes, and of course melanin. This assembly line recycles phosphorus so our cells can produce light.
To earn respect.
This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic. The electron transport chain has 5 sections or 5 cytochromes: cyto, cell, chrome, color, or pigment. Cytochrome is the cellular pigments. The 5th is the ATPase pump or turbine. The base of this unit or FO motor, the counterclockwise clepsydra, has 9 to 12 components that cycle protons to power the pump.
To earn respect.
Each ATP must be utilized with magnesium.
This is the algorithm. Times table.
To earn respect.
Memorize your times table.
To earn respect.
Prescription from Dr.
To earn
H.
respect.
We breathe in life and light in patterns of 12. The alveoli open and close 12 times a minute. 12 times an hour, the Botzinger complex creates a sigh. The Botzinger complex is also the actual human beatbox.
To earn respect.
This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic.
Spend time paying attention, balancing your interests to earn respect.
The total work week, or 5 days, equals 120 hours. Your 12 pints of red blood cells live 120 days. Impulses travel neurons at 120 meters a second. There is 120,000 miles of lymph vessels. blood sugar levels top at 120, the rough equivalent of a 6A1C. Electrons per atom also top at 120. Red blood cells spin, creating a vortex through the 12 gates of the heart into the Y septum. Make note that the heart is 12 centimeters or 12 royal fingers in length itself, pumping 12 pints of blood. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic.
Spend time paying attention, balancing your interests to earn respect, so you'll never have.
The 12 pints of red blood cells then make the 60,000-mile journey every 60 seconds, only possible by the structuring of water. Eerily similar to the 60-mile-high electric field around Earth when charged, the 60 mitochondria DNA codons powering the little FO wall clocks. F equals 6, F0 is another 60, setting the frequency, the brain, max speed of awareness to information, processing speed is 60 bits per second. That 60 is divine mathematics from the almanac. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic.
Spend time paying attention, balancing your interests to earn respect, so you'll never have to save face.
Cells have their own carbon-12 cycle. Much like the algae of the planet recycle carbon into pigments, we recycle carbon-12 to make nucleotides. This is called the tricarboxylic acid cycle. A major portion of the tricarboxylic acid cycle is B12, the major purpose of which is to feed the mitochondria so they can recycle our ATP. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic. The mitochondria have an assembly line called the electron transport chain. These mitochondria cannot function without melanocytes, melanosomes, and of course melanin. This assembly line recycles phosphorus so our cells can produce light to earn respect. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic. The electron transport chain has 5 sections or 5 cytochromes: cyto, cell, chrome, color or pigment. Cytochrome is the cellular pigments. The 5th is the ATPase pump or turbine. The base of this unit or FO motor, the counterclockwise clepsydra, has 9 to 12 components that cycle protons to power the pump. Each ATP must be utilized with magnesium. Magnesium is atom number 12 on the periodic table. The 12-unit FO water clock creates the 12 kBT energy that must bind to the 12th atom on the periodic table. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic. 7.3 kcals per mole divided by 0.60 equals 12. The ATP has an average value of 12 kBT in available energy. A mole, based on the historical definition of the mole, as the amount of substance that corresponds to the number of atoms in 12 grams of carbon-12. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic. The EnQi cycle sits at the center of motion in the cytoplasm. Structuring water molecules creates pools of free electrons, coherent domains. Melanin harnesses these free electrons and feeds them to NAD. NAD in turn feeds the cell. That is the EnQi cycle. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic.
Spend time paying attention, balancing your interests to earn respect, so you'll never have to save face.
5-8. Y'all with me?
Spend time paying attention, balancing your interests.
Paying attention.
Spend time paying attention, balancing your interests to earn respect.
Paying attention. Balancing.
ATP is produced by breaking down glucose or chains of carbon-12. We then cycle the carbon-12 back to the environment for the algae and plants. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic. 36 to 38 ATP are produced from each glucose molecule. Without mitochondria, our cells can only squeeze 2 ATP per glucose molecule. Each glucose molecule is a chain of carbon-12. A sodium-potassium pump uses 1 ATP during each cycle. 12 times per second, these pumps go through a cycle, exporting 3 sodium ions and importing 2 potassium ions. As above, so below. The cell membrane and the mitochondria membrane. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic. Yeah. Top of the morning. Top of the top. Top of the top. Top of the clock. You already know what's popping with Doc. I need to get me a hat on. I'm scarred up. That's why I always have a hat on. I got scars on my head all over the place. People trying to kill me. Oh, man. Since I was a little kid, people been trying to kill me. So that's why, that's another reason why, you know, I'm always kind of cool and relaxed with internet hate. Because it's internet hate. Peace to the family, though. Man, I got up. We're going to talk about it. But just getting back into, I told you I'm drinking my bitters like 5-6 times a day. I'm trying to get my body back together for the summertime. You know what I'm saying? And so I got up today, 5:30. Got Caleb up. Get your ass up, boy. Got Chase up. Get your ass up, boy. Come on, let's go. And we did a 3 and grabbed the dog. And funny enough, yo, my dog is a goon. You know what I'm saying? My dog is a goon. But we did a 3-mile, about 3.5 miles bike ride this morning. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, just to get the lymphatic system flowing, the blood, you know, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. Yeah, we're going to get to it. Y'all already know what it is.
Peace to the family. This is Abdul Ali, candidate for U.S. House District 12 here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Let's just be real, folks. The Democrats have destroyed our major cities. Their policies have made us less safe. They've given us less economic opportunity, and they've provided less educational opportunities for our children. And that's why I'm running for Congress, because I know what it takes to improve these issues. I've got great working relationships already in D.C. I've spent the last 10 years of my life building my political resume so that one of us, somebody who thinks like we do, could get into D.C. and make a difference. I want you to visit aliforcongress.com to find out more about my campaign. The Democrats have already done enough, and now they're putting illegal aliens in front of people like you and me, folks whose ancestors built this country and made it what.
Peace and blessings out there to everybody. My name is Dr. EnQi, the founder of the Melanin versus Diabetes movement. And
That's the algorithm.
Peace and blessings out there to everybody. My name is Dr. EnQi, the founder of the Melanin versus Diabetes movement.
That's the algorithm.
Peace and blessings out there to everybody. My name is Dr. EnQi, the founder of the Melanin versus Diabetes movement and ministry. Our goal.
The world knew New York as Muslims, as gods. When I was growing up, we had knowledge of self. I was a God body. I'm still acknowledging myself as that. I had knowledge of self. New York, we need to get back to being civilized. Off this gang shit, off the blood, off the crip. Let's go back to the
ourselves.
essence, nigga.
Back to the
Let's go back to being civilized.
Ooh. Hey, Mr. DJ. right? So let's get busy with the get busy. First, let's say peace to the family, right? Peace to the family. Peace to the family. Come on, Mr. Richardson. We be missing you when you're not around. Mr. Richardson helps take care of the business. Remind everybody to support the movement. Keep the movement moving. You got to keep the movement moving. We need $1. We need $5. We need $10 out you. We need $20 out you. We need a 50 ball, a 100 ball. We need you to put something in the Cash App to keep the movement moving. We need some currency for the I don't got nothing for currency. I don't got nothing for the currency, but we got to have something to keep the movement moving. I'm doing jump rope right now. So hold up. Don't judge me. Okay, don't. I could hear you. I could hear you in your household, in your mind, right? I could hear your mind. I could hear your thoughts. Don't judge me. In LeBron's crucial time of needing, I am there for LeBron. When LeBron needs it, okay? This is not about the Lakers getting ready to get, I could only imagine. Listen, I'm ducking Chris Broussard right now. I'm ducking Chris Broussard right now because I already know he's gonna say Jordan never lost 12 times in a row to anybody. Yo, this is crazy. But don't judge me. I'm a rider. Even when the chips is down, we hanging in there. Shout out to my guy, Mr. T. Mr. T is from overseas somewhere. So we got the international family tuned in. I'm doing jump rope right now. So I will try and tap back in, but just wanted to say I finished book 2. And the last 20 pages or so made a brother want to cry. You could read your passion coming out in the words. Man, I appreciate him for saying that. And he's talking about the neurotransmitter / bone marrow book. For the people wondering, that's why there's a skull on the book, right? It's not a skull on the book because I'm in the Illuminati or secret society. The skull is on the book because the book is talking about neurotransmitters and neurochemistry. And the link actually between the bone marrow and the neurochemistry and how exercising allows you to be able to control your neurochemistry. So, important book. And I can see that he felt the sentiment because before he even gets to that, he said he jumping rope right now. He's getting busy with the get busy. So beautiful comment. But let me say this. Let me add this. If we go to the algorithm, right? This is the book right here where the timetable comes from. So Brother Juice was asking me if the timetable is all wise, right, and exact. Of course it is. But, you guys can research it, but get the book, right? The algorithm book, and it has more information in there. And what we're going to do right now is flip open to page, right? We're going to flip open to page 306, right? Page 306, right? Page 306. And this is important for our conversation today. Page 306 gives you a chart. It has a chart there of how many calories you're burning per minute, right? Very important for what it is that we're trying to do. Very important for what it is that we're trying to do, right? So it has a list of activities from cleaning your house to playing pool to walking 30 minutes, or rather walking a 30-minute mile, right? To washing dishes. Literally, all of these things are listed so you know how many calories your body is burning as you're doing these things, right? Impact. That's light impact. This is moderate, right? Aerobics, cycling, right? Going 10 miles an hour. This is riding your bike, right? Kayaking, mopping the floor or vacuuming. So you know exactly how many calories you're burning per minute. Right? This I don't see. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if y'all know what y'all getting in all of these books. Right? I don't know if y'all really fully understand what y'all getting with all these books, but you have the power to do everything that you need to get done with these books. Right? So right now, we're looking at page 305, 306, and 307 inside of the algorithm book. So this is where I'm literally reading out of this book when you hear the timetable. Spend time paying attention, balancing your interests so you never have to save it. I'm reading out of this book, right? But this part is important for how our program is designed, right? So that way you can track. You're supposed to be doing your 100 push-ups a day, building up to being able to do 60 push-ups in 60 seconds, right? That's your goal, right? As you're doing your working out, you want to know, okay, because what we have is we got so much, right? But we have your max carbohydrate number, right? Your max carbohydrate number, your carb max number. That's the number of carbs that your body metabolizes every day on its own, your insulin, which your beta cells producing natural levels of insulin. So when we know our carb max number, we know how much carbohydrates our body is going to metabolize without us doing any help, right? That's without exercise, without shooting insulin. This is diabetics, non-diabetics, obese, skinny, muscular, doesn't matter. You need to know how much insulin your body produces on a regular basis, right? So that way you can calculate how many grams of carbs your body can take, right? So you know where you're at. Now you add in your insulin or your exercise or whatever it is that you're doing, and then you can modify that number, right? In terms of how much carbs you should be eating every day. If naturally your body allows you to burn 1,000 calories of carbohydrate, 1,000 calories in terms of carbohydrates, then you know you Gucci if you stay within that range. If you add on some more 1,500, 2,000, ice cream calling your name, you want to be able to calculate in your mind exactly how much exercise you need to add on to your body's natural metabolism, wherever that is, to be able to burn those carbohydrates, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Now, it becomes much more effective, obviously, if you have issues. You know what I'm saying? It's a much better metric for you to use to track whatever it is that you got going on. And we have charts in the book for you to be able to track those metrics, right? So the book has charts in it and all that stuff. So it's really, detailed and, right? But on page 305, 306, and 307, you have a list of activities. Obviously, you can think of things that aren't on here. But, this is a pretty thorough list, from cleaning the house to washing dishes to skateboarding, snowmobiling, water aerobics, high impact circuit training, cross country skiing, moving furniture around the house, rowing, swimming, weightlifting, you know, everything, you know, everything. It's a pretty thorough list. And you have walking at different speeds, right? You got walking at 1, 2, 3. Let me see. 4 different walking speeds, right? And those are all cross-referenced with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 different weight groups, right? So because that factors into how much calories you burn, right? So 120-pound person taking a slow walk for 10 miles is going to burn a different amount of calories than a 240-pound person taking a slow walk for 10 miles. Get my drift? So all of those things are here for you to be able to calculate. And don't think for 1 second that I don't also use these things for myself. I use it for me. I use it for the children. Like I that's how I think of what I should put in the book, based on what I'm doing, what I feel is useful, helpful, what I know is helpful for people that hit me up for consultations or tutoring sessions. Doc, how do I do this? Doc, how do I do that? Okay, well, flip open the book to this page. Have you read the books? No, I didn't. Okay, well, okay, here I'm gonna need you to read the book. Call me back. Read the book, hit me back, and then, because almost 10 out of 10 times when people ask me a bunch of questions and I ask them, did they read the book? The answer is no. And then I tell them, all right, well, go read this book and this book and then hit me back. When they read them books and hit me back, they either say, yo, good looking out. All my questions, like that was all my questions and then some, or they have a whole brand new list of questions because the questions they initially wanted to ask was answered in the books. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Right. And burning calories has everything to do with your immune system. So as we get deeper into the immune system, we're going to have this conversation. I have never had a person hit me up for consultations, whether it was cancer, whether it was a broken bone, whether it was weight loss or like it didn't matter what it was. Exercise is always a part of the program. And the people that just sell herbs, you know, first of all, you see these guys look like anorexic stick figures. That's number one, right? Nobody wants to look like an anorexic or bulimic stick figure. That's not healthy. You niggas don't look healthy. I'm gonna let you know that. You walking around 6 foot tall and you only weigh 100 pounds. You do not look healthy, right? You do not look healthy, respectfully. Dr. Sebi did not look healthy at 6'3". What? Dr. Sebi like 6'3", weighing 120 pounds. That looked crazy. That looked crazy, right? 6'3", 120 pounds, bro. The only thing missing is the flies buzzing around your lips. So that's not the goal, right? That is not the goal. We demonstrate beyond the shadow of a doubt that all-cause mortality, the number one risk factor is strength and muscle mass. Strength and muscle mass determine literally how long you're going to live. And when you get deeper into the books, we explain why, right? Because you have 3 types of muscle: skeletal muscle, smooth muscle, and cardiac muscle. Your smooth muscle, and the funny thing is the smooth muscle is the bridge between the skeletal muscle and the cardiac muscle, right? But your smooth muscle is your internal muscle. This is why they always had the knee dan and the way dan in terms of martial arts, right? External exercise, external strengthening, and then internal exercise, internal strengthening. Now, you niggas at home been listening to these chakra niggas and all these other goofy niggas that's trying to make this into something weird that it's not. Internal strengthening means strengthening the internal muscles. It's not about sticking nothing up your anus. You know, I know y'all been listening to Brother Yaki. Brother Yaki been out there encouraging the brothers to have anal sex, right? Because these brothers is into that. See, I'm here for the brothers that's not into anal sex. I'm here for the brothers that want to be spiritual without having their anus penetrated, right? See, this is what they've been promoting out here. And people want to get mad with me, you know, for mentioning it. But hey, you can't get mad with me for mentioning this, what they promoting. I'm just trying to warn you guys that this is the program. So you get on the program, you know, that's what it is.
A man has something called a G-spot, too. Okay. And the only way you can get through it is through his anus.
Nah, I don't want my son under no nigga like that.
A man has something called a G-spot, too. Okay. And the only way you can get through it is through his anus.
Nah, I don't want my son under no nigga like that.
So that's all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? That's not spirituality. That's something else. There's no G-spot in your anus. There's no spirituality that's inside your anus. The only thing that's in your anus is shit. So when you hear these guys talking about something that's up their anus, tell them they full of shit. They need some water and some fiber. That's what they need. Some water and some fiber to get that to flowing and clean that thing on out. Yeah, that's what's going on. They need to clean that thing on out. You know what I'm saying? So that's not what we on. You know what I'm saying? You have internal muscles, smooth muscles. The smooth muscles is responsible for peristaltic function. Peristaltic function is literally the wave of electricity. It's electromagnetic, right? It contracts and relaxes your muscles in order, like that. So that way food travels all the way down through your digestive system out of your anus, so that the blood travels from your aorta all the way down and around your body. This is peristaltic function. Your arteries are made out of smooth muscle. Your lymphatic vessels are made out of smooth muscle. So literally, your organs, most of your organs are made out of smooth muscle. Most of your glands are made out of smooth muscle. So these are the internal muscles that need to be strengthened. So when, you know, you hear martial artists or people that are in certain spiritual art forms, I don't know if there's a name for them, a separate name for them, because it all falls under the title of martial arts, you know what I'm saying? But some of them is for fighting and some of them is just for spiritual pursuit. You know, where you function, you working on breathing and strengthening the joints and the ligaments and internal muscle, right? That's for longevity, isometrics, internal muscle, you know, longevity, things like that. So that's the main reason why your health is, your longevity is tied to your strength, right? The other thing is, when you exercise, literally, that's how you wash your ass, right? Exercising. And in the fascia book, where's that fascia book? We got a book on fascia. It's called the Clean Abs Fascia Book. It is somewhere around here. Where is that book? The Clean Abs Fascia Book. that book? Oh, okay. I found the allergy book. Found the allergy book I was looking for. Now I need to find the clean abs facial. Anyway, Chloe. Oh, I know where it is. I left it on my bed. We was working out. I know exactly where it is. We was doing push-ups in my room, and Chase asked me, "Where's the obliques?" Kylie, see if you see that book in my room, the clean abs facial book. Chase asked me, "Where's the obliques?" And in that book, we have the diagrams that shows the tissues and all that stuff, the different layers, right? It's important to know this because this is how you clean the inside of your body. And that's a very big part of your immune system. You know what I'm saying? But actually, I'm going to show this and then we'll get to that. You know what I'm saying? But it's so yeah, Mr. T sparked the whole conversation with that. You know what I'm saying? That's the algorithm. All right. That is a certified fact right there. That is a certified fact right there. Time doesn't govern biology. Time doesn't govern biology, right? Your cells do not tell time the way we do. The cells don't tell time based on a watch or whatever the case may be. This is why 99% of the conversations that they're having online about aging doesn't even make sense. Because cells tell time based on, first of all, their size scale and their resources that are available to them and chemical reactions per second and things like that. You know what I'm saying? And there's hundreds of thousands of chemical reactions happening in your cell per second. Like, so the time scale, if we would be able to shrink ourselves down to that universe, the time scale would be insane. Right? The time scale would be insane. And that's, you know, that's the whole conversation about, you know, size, and it's a longer conversation. I don't want to open that. I don't want to open that that rabbit hole up. Did you find the book? What? Go get Chloe to do it. What I did do is what I said I was going to do yesterday. Remember, I said yesterday I was going to make a clip so that way we could see the the watermill thing, exactly how I was trying to explain it a lot easier. So we have that. I'm going to put that on the screen real quick. Ah, beautiful. Thank you, lady. Can I have a kissy? Is there any kissy-wissy involved for that? Oh my goodness. That was delicious. That was delicious and nutritious. All right. Hold on. Hold up. We got to bring it back. Ooh. Wait, what is this? How did this go? Okay, hold up. There we go. All right. Yeah, that switched too quick from video to video. All right, so now we got an idea. We could take our conversation we was having yesterday to another level, right? So yesterday, I was explaining how the water moves compartment to compartment to compartment in the body, right? So we could just get that in our mind before, because it's a, learning is a process of building neural networks, right? So I try to, break things down as simple as possible before we start stacking up other stuff on it, right? So the conversation yesterday was about cancer and autoimmune disease and how the immune system works. The immune system is based on water. Everything in your body is based on water, right? Water being able to structure itself. And we're going to look at the algorithm book again, timetable again, right? Because a part of that is important to learn, right? Because and a lot of this, like I said, I learned from studying Freemasonry. You know what I'm saying? Freemasonry is, I don't know. That's where all of the jewels, all the information, literally the jewels, you know what I'm saying? Unintended, you know what I'm saying, for all the Masons listening, you know what I'm saying? But all the jewels are there. You know what I'm saying? All the jewels are there. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you understand the historical connection to ancient Egypt and Sumer and some of the older, even some of the stuff from Greece and, everybody got a few little pieces they didn't add it on, you know what I'm saying? Even though we know the bulk of our math and science came from ancient Egypt, you know what I'm saying? Like we know, well, I can't even say the bulk. Actually, yeah, the bulk came from Egypt and Sumer. We got to do it like that. And then we know surrounding cultures added as well. And then Masonry just became like this repository of history. And, but it's a lot there. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot there. So the thing that's important is form denotes function. When you're talking about form, you're talking about shape and geometry, right? So geometry is, the thing. Geometry is the main thing. So why that's important? Because geometry is the reason why you see similar motifs used over and over, not just in your body, but all throughout nature. It's like whenever nature figured out something that worked, it never switched it. It either scaled it up in size or scaled it down in size, but it's still, the geometry and the functionality is still there, right? The geometry and the functionality is still there. So even when we look at the smallest scale, right, which is in your mitochondria, right? Cytochrome, two things to pay attention to, right? All of the important stuff, the action, you know what I'm saying? The action happens at cytochrome 4, right? Cytochrome 4 is producing water. That's what's happening. And we detail that in a book. Like everything we discuss, we have in books. So, because in these conversations have a lot of information, but I can't really detail everything the way I would like to in these conversations because we're moving. So each part of the conversation, I reference the book where you can go and find, more information about on that part of the conversation, right? So we have a book called Mitochondrial Water, right? This is primarily about cytochrome number 4. And the reason why that has its own book is because, well, cytochrome number 5 has its book, right? Cytochrome number 5 pretty much is the algorithm book, right? Cytochrome number 5 is the star of the show of the algorithm book. In fact, we can go through the first few pages. Man, let me see if I can find it on this computer, because I moved a lot of stuff off this computer to clear space. So a lot of stuff is really disorganized right now. Let me see. Okay, let's see what we got here. No. Anything here? No. Damn, it's not here. All right, so you got to have your own. You got to have your own at the house. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know where it is. It's on another hard drive. Actually, I have a bunch of these things floating around, so it got to be on another hard drive. Let me see if it's actually sitting inside this memory thing. If I don't find it, I'm gonna just read it out. Reading it ain't the same. Reading it is not the same. Yep, it's not on here. Damn. This is why y'all need to have the books. This is why y'all need to have the books. Because inside the book, we have the see, you could see it better if I had the computer file thingy, right? But we're going to the first chapter, not even the first chapter, the intro, where it says root chakra. Not root chakra, but root chakra, right? That's where all of the pictures are close up so you can see what we're talking about. But this is cytochrome 5. This is actually cytochrome 5 here on the cover of the book. So maybe it'd be better for us to just use the cover of the book, right? And this right here is called the F0 motor, right? This is inside the membrane of the mitochondria, right? This is the motor. This part turns this part right here. And this part up here is the tree. And the branches kind of open up and close. It opens and closes like that. And when it opens, it captures ADP and spent phosphates. And when it closes, it smashes them back together to recycle ATP, right? But it's powered by this thing right here moving. And the way that this thing moves is water molecules going through here, or recycle, it's a part of recycling water molecules. It's a part of recycling water molecules. So in the inner matrix and the outer matrix, you have protons, right? Or positive hydrogen ions, right? And because they really, you got hydroxides and hydroxyl units from water molecules breaking down. But just to make it make sense, simplify it, you can say a positive hydrogen ion, right? And so electrons moving through the electron chain cause those positive hydrogen ions to fill up on the outside of the matrix, which would kind of be like up here. And as they come back through, it powers this to spin, right? So that is a small version of how the whole entire body works, right? Your whole entire body works that way. Water comes in through the digestive system, and your digestive system is like a river system. You know what I'm saying? First, you got the waterfall. Listen, this is really how nature and your body is designed. So when you drink water, like a waterfall. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find something so we could look at something, right? Human body anatomy. Let's see what we pull up. All right, that looked pretty cool. That looks pretty cool. Let's go on over to Google. Let's get googly. Right, this one looked pretty cool. Let's see what we could do with this. Can we do something with this? Boop. So that's the waterfall right there. The waterfall start when you drink it, and the water just, let me see. Can y'all see my little mouse? Okay, good. The waterfall is when you drink the water and it's just kind of falling down, right? Goes into your stomach. Then it's, falling down. And then right down here, when you get into like the intestines and all that, that's when it gets like a river. That's like the river rapids. You know what I'm saying? Now, from your digestive system, the water is absorbed into your blood. Once you get into the blood, now you're doing something. You know what I'm saying? Now you're doing something. Hydrate the blood, then it moves on from there into the big space of the body, right? It goes through the capillaries into the big space of the body where you have interstitial fluid or extracellular matrix, just depends on the perspective of how you're looking at it. And that's where all of the fascia is. That's where the water goes to different areas of the body to hydrate different pools of water, like the fluid in the eye, the vitreous fluid in the eye, the fluid in the ear, the pleural fluid around the lungs, cerebrospinal fluid. All these things have to constantly be replenished, remineralized, re-electrified, all of that kind of stuff, right? Then it goes into the lymph system and moves through the lymph system to be strained and filtered and cleaned. And then through the subclavicle veins or vessels, rather, it dumps back into your circulatory system. And, the wheel keeps turning. That's the wheel. That's the water mill, right? Now, we went through that yesterday, right? That's the big version. Mitochondria is the little version, right? Now, today, the part that we're adding on is the power part, right? The power part, right? So when you look at the video again, at the end of the video, it shows a hydroelectric dam and how the hydro. Now, all the technology in the world is based on your body. All the technology in the world is based on your body. It's just nobody ever took the time like we have. Thanks to your Cash Apps, thanks to you supporting the website, thanks to you joining the Patreon, thanks to you buying the books, all of those things, we're able to put this stuff together, right? So continue to do those things. Hit the Cash App right now. You know what I'm saying? Also, hit the thumbs up. Damn it. Hit the like button and the thumbs up. Y'all be watching the video and don't hit the damn thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up, right? So thumbs up the video, right? Yeah, thumbs up the video. You know what I'm saying? We talked about that yesterday, but, we didn't really talk about the hydroelectric, and shout out to somebody. Let me see who that was. Let me see. Hold on. Shout out to somebody because they knew what. Shout out to True Fist of the North Star. He already knew what time it was. Hydrohemophotophysicology. This is my own scientific term for what we teach. And I came up with this term probably about 20 years ago. And people was like, what is that, bro? Ain't nobody, what are you talking about? Like, yo, ain't nobody trying to learn, nobody even want to learn how to say that word. What'd you say? What is that? I was like, this is how your body works. Your body is based on hydrohemophysiology, right? So what you learning now is the hydrohemo part. You know what I'm saying? How the water cycling, right? Whether it's the water cycling, the macro water cycling, which we just went through, or the micro water cycling, which is the EnQi cycle and the FO motor, right? The mitochondria and all that, right? That's what powers the body, right? In the end of this video clip that I put together, you see a hydroelectric dam. And basically it's how water is powering compartments, you know, to spin the wheel. And then that wheel is attached to a generator. That's what that is on top of that. That's a generator. Let me show that. That's a generator. And a generator is basically nothing but magnets and copper, iron and copper. That's what a generator is, right? It's not that complicated. A generator is iron and copper, right? Copper is your best conductor. You got silver and gold, but silver and gold have issues inside the human body, right? So copper is the best biological conductor, right? But that's, you know, so this, don't think about silver and gold, right? So copper is your best conductor. Anytime you put, and you could do it in either combination, you could have copper, stationary copper, and you could have moving magnets, right? You could have moving iron. That moving iron will generate electricity in those copper. Or, right, you can have stationary iron and have moving copper, and it's going to generate electricity, right? So you have the water-powered compartments causing the movement of the generator, right? Which is the iron and copper rotation, right? That is creating electricity. That's creating electricity, right? By doing what? Moving charged particles. Well, that's your blood, right? That's your blood, right? And then you have the wires, which is connected to the generator. That's your nervous system. So all of this is detailed in the new book. The new book that's out right now, Lymphatic Immunity. I breaks it all down in the new book. You know what I'm saying? Or the last 3 books, I would say. So you got the Electrician Manual. Then you got EnQi in the Brainwave. And then you got Lymphatic Immunity, like diplomatic immunity, lymphatic immunity. Right? Let me put it back on the screen again so you can see what I'm saying, though. Okay, let's get this thing going. Let's get it started. Let's get it started. All right, so you see what I'm saying? How the water moving through the system powers the circulation, right? Because once the water moves completely through the system, now it's coming through your subclavicle back into the circulatory system, right? That also contributes to arterial pulsation, right? That contributes to arterial pulsation. Now, this is why in the fascia book, you know, we talk about how to wash your ass, right? I like to keep saying that part, right? How to wash your ass, because you have to, let me see if it'll show good. All right. You see this right here, right? I wonder if that's in memory. That should be in memory because that is a relatively newer book. So I don't think that I got rid of that so fast. Let me see. That should be, yep, I think I have that. Bang, bang. Okay. What you doing? Open up. Okay, hold on. And I just want to show the first couple pages anyway. Right? Okay, so here's the book. Right, this is why we was looking at it last night, because Chase was asking me about the obliques and the abs and all that. So I was showing him from the actual book. But here's the part where I was trying to show you guys just now. Right? So you see this right here. This is how your body is. This is a simplified version, obviously, because your skin has multiple layers, right? But you have your skin, then you have your fat, then you have your connective tissue, then you have the muscle, then you have more connective tissue, then you have the peritoneum, and then you have your intestines. This is around your abs. And this is simplified because you actually have, now this right here is showing somebody that has a six-pack, for instance. This is a six-pack. This person has very little fat underneath their skin, and you don't see no fat around their intestines. So this person has zero fat, zero belly fat, right? This person will have a six-pack, right? But in reality, most people are going to have some fat coating their intestines, right? So between their intestines and the peritoneum, they're going to have fat, right? Now, this place right here where you see connective tissue is the fascia, right? Then you have the muscle tissue, and then you have another layer of fascia. Then you have your fat, then you have your skin. Now, here's what the skeletal muscle does versus the smooth muscle. When you exercise, the smooth internal muscle pulls this way as the skeletal muscle pulls that way, right? So each time they contract and relax in different directions, it pulls your fascia like this. So it's literally the same as you washing your drawers in the tub or washing your panties in the shower, right? And you wash them like that, or you wash them like this with your hands, and you scrub your drawers or your panties so you can clean it. When you exercise, that's what the exercising uses your muscles to do with your fascia, right? So when you exercise your abs, you have the smooth muscle and the skeletal muscle doing like this with the multiple layers of fascia that's in there like this, right? And as you're hydrating, your body's moving that water around, right? So that water is able to scrub and get all of the bacteria, the waste and all that out of there into the lymph to wash the lymph out into the urine, right? So you have to think about this. You got millions, billions, some estimations it says into the trillions. Listen to this. Trillions of bacteria that live inside you, all everywhere, right? You probably forgetting that those bacteria is alive, which means they do pretty much everything that you do. They do pretty much everything that you do. So they don't have a, a penis and a vagina, so they ain't doing that. But they do pretty much everything else. So these bacteria, they sweating and they sweat out alcohol. You know what I'm saying? So they sweating, they pee, they poop, they make waste. You got to think of it that way, though. They make waste. So all that waste, you got a lot of waste, dead skin, dead bacteria, body parts, and biofilms of all little types of critters and, creepy crawlies, all in the different layers of those tissues. All up in between the different layers of those tissues. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta clean that. All up in between these different layers, you got all kind of stuff up in there. You got to clean that and rehydrate that, right? As you clean and rehydrate that, all of the dirty water with all the gunk from all up between those different layers goes down and washes into the lymph. You know what I'm saying? This is a large part of your immune system. So you might be clean on the outside, but you filthy on the inside. And the fatter you are, the more fat you have. This is how fat, listen, this is how bacteria and viruses and all that is able to hide in the fat. The more fat you got, so the fat doesn't clean. Listen, yeah, it's nasty what we talking about, right? It's nasty shit. The fat doesn't the fat doesn't clean. You know how you gotta like really shampoo your carpet? Sometimes you gotta hire niggas to shampoo your carpet, or you gotta get one of them expensive ass wet vacuums to really like shampoo the hell out of the carpet. Get fat. It don't matter what you do. Fat doesn't clean. Fat is nasty. Fat has all kind of stuff in there. Bacteria, viruses, everything is inside the fat. The fat, the only thing you could do with fat is get rid of it. Now, exercise and water is going to help clean all the other tissues, right? But you got to do it specifically to the body, meaning, say for instance, you go to the gym and you one of those guys that you just worried about your chest and your arms. So you just exercising chest and arms. Okay, well, cool. Your chest and arms going to be clean as hell, right? But the rest of your body is not. You know what I'm saying? It's the area that you exercise. That area you're washing. Washing is exercising. So somebody asked me, I think it was the brother and sister from Canada, they tapped in, they asked me about bone marrow washing. Exercising. Now, the bone marrow is a little bit different, right? Because obviously it's not the same with the tissues. Bone marrow is inside your bones, but it's the same thing though. With the bones, you have to remember the bones, still the same as exercise based, but the bones are piezoelectric. The bones are piezoelectric. So the way you clean the bone is burning fat, because fat like retards the bone. Yeah, so you got to get rid of the fat. You don't want fat, that the fat ages, if that works for you, the bone. But cleaning the bone is stimulating it with mechanical stress, right? Mechanical stress. Mechanical stress is how you clean the bone. So when you go back into the art form of bone marrow washing, which is a martial arts thing, it's primary isometrics, because isometrics allows you to put mechanical stress on the bones without putting so much stress on the joints, right? That's kind of what a lot of the martial arts, or at least some of them anyway, is designed for older folks, right? So you can exercise the muscles, the bones, without putting so much pressure on the joints. You know what I'm saying? Without putting so much pressure on the joints. But that's the thing with the bone marrow. And then we talked about that yesterday. Bone marrow cells are a large part of your immune system, right? The bone marrow cells. Bone marrow cells are B cells. Thymus cells are T cells. Now, thymus cells are like the privileged kids. Thymus cells is like the privileged kids, right? The privileged kids, the kids that have the ability to go to school, right? So that's what thymus cells are. The thymus is a school for white blood cells. It's a dojo. It's like learning jujitsu. That's what happens when the blood cells goes to the thymus. They learn jujitsu. The white blood cells inside the thymus, they learn jujitsu. I kid you not. So when they go to the thymus, they learn, they train, they learn how to kick ass. And the ones that make it to get their black belt, they become the T cells that then then you have the ones that don't make it. They don't complete training. They don't get their belts. Well, those can be messenger cells or memory cells, and they don't get the license to kill. You know what I'm saying? But the thymus is where that training happens. So literally, that's what's going on in there. Cells is learning how to, inside the thymus. Well, not just fat people. So don't think, when I say fat, don't necessarily think of size. Think more of body fat percentage, because you have slim people too that are out of shape, that are just small fat people, skinny fat. You know what I'm saying? So fat is dirty though. You have to think of that. Fat is dirty, even though you have different types of fat, right? You have white adipose tissue, then you have the brown adipose tissue, and then you have fat that coats your nerves and serves as insulation for electrically active parts of the body. So those things would be different. Brown adipose tissue and things like your myelin sheath, or certain parts of your brain, those things would be different. But white adipose tissue, absolutely. White adipose tissue is a harborer of bacteria and viruses. And, that's one of the things that cortisol does, right? When cortisol comes through, it depends on what else you got going on, what other chemistry is going on. But in order to clean the body, a lot of times stuff will just get pushed into fat cells. You know what I'm saying? Stuff will get pushed into fat cells. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, the only way to clean those tissues is to get rid of them. The only way to clean fat cells is to get rid of them. Now, here's the problem, right? And I want to say we discuss it in the nerve book. I think it's the nerve book that we discuss it, right? Here's the problem. burning fat is not only exercise, it's mental. It's brain chemistry, right? Because and here's where the fight or flight and all this stuff, the adrenaline, the adrenal glands and all this connects. When you stimulate that sympathetic nervous system, your nerves is actually what sends the message from the brain to tell the fat cells to open up. So if you have poor connectivity of your nerves to your fat cells, those messages don't get there to the fat cells. And so the fat cells don't open up and release their contents into the blood for you to be able to burn it up, right? So nerve health is also a part of being able, having a fast metabolism. Having a fast metabolism is about nerve connectivity as well. It's just not about, thyroid hormones or mitochondria. It's also about how well your nerves communicate to your fat cells. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, people gotta, you gotta exercise. We gotta exercise. You know what I'm saying? We got to exercise, right? So let's go back to our video. This is that hydroelectricity. Each of those compartments in the water wheel is the same as a compartment in your body, right? So you can look at the source of the water, right, in two ways. You got the water coming through from your digestive system, right? And the water coming through from your digestive system is really more like the like this water here, right? When you look at this, when we look at this model here, that's really more of the water coming through the digestive system. That's how that looks. As opposed to this right here is more of when the water is recycled through your subclavicle vessels and veins back into your back in the circulatory system or the subclavicle arteries, right? But this is how that water is pushed back into the circulatory system. So each one of these, you just imagine it in your mind, right? Imagine it in your mind. This is a compartment. Digestive system, circulatory system, interstitial fluid, extracellular matrix, fascia, lymphatic system, circulatory system. You gotta have the music. Without the music, it don't really, it don't really hit the right way. Now, hold on. Let me show you something. Because now let me show you in the beginning of the algorithm video, right? This right here. In the beginning of this video right here, what you're looking at, this is a top-down view of cytochrome number 5 inside your mitochondria. This is literally how this wheel works. So these are the positive hydrogen ions that spins this motor that we're talking about inside your mitochondria, right? So when you see it like this is a sideways view of this guy right here, this motor, right? This here, right here. This is the motor, right? This is a side view. In the video, this right here is a top-down view. So you can see the hydrogen. So you can see the hydrogen ions come from the bottom, right? And spin and power this up.
This is the algorithm. This is the algorithm. Times table.
To earn respect.
Memorize your times table.
To earn respect.
Prescription. Dr. H.
We breathe in life and light in patterns of 12. The alveoli open and close 12 times a minute. 12 times an hour, the Botzinger complex creates a sigh. The Botzinger complex is also the actual human beatbox. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic. The total work week, or 5 days, equals 120 hours. Your 12 pints of red blood cells live 120 days. Impulses travel neurons at 120 meters a second. There is 120,000 miles of lymph vessels. Blood sugar levels top at 120, the rough equivalent of a 6A1C. Electrons per atom also top at 120. Red blood cells spin, creating a vortex through the 12 gates of the heart into the Y septum. Make note that the heart is 12 centimeters or 12 royal fingers in length itself, pumping 12 pints of blood. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic.
Spend time paying attention, balancing your interests to earn respect, so you'll never have.
The 12 pints of red blood cells then make the 60,000-mile journey every 60 seconds, only possible by the structuring of water. Eerily similar to the 60-mile-high electric field around Earth when charged. The 60 mitochondria DNA codons powering the little FO wall clocks. F equals 6. F0 is another 60. Setting the frequency, the brain, max speed of awareness to information. Processing speed is 60 bits per second. That 60 is divine mathematics from the almanac. This is the sublime mathematics of diabetic arithmetic.
Spend time paying attention, balancing your interests to earn respect, so you'll never have to save face.
Now, this right here is where I wanted to go right here. So you can actually see cytochrome 5 in action. This is a little video of cytochrome 5 in action. And so what you're looking at that look like little birds flying around, the little birds are what's called ADP, and the little dots is phosphate. And so as the birds and the phosphates get trapped in the tree, they get recycled back into ATP. These are the trees of life, for real, for real. But at the bottom, you see that motor pumping. Right? You see that motor pumping. That motor's pumping off of the protons. The planet recycle carbon into pigments. We recycle carbon-12 to make nucleotides. Now, here's where the rubber meets the road in terms of Hold up, tag. Where am I at? Okay, there I go. There I go. There I go. There I go. This is why also in this book, right, page 305, 306, and 307, we have the charts. So you know exactly how much calories you're burning per minute of whatever it is you're doing, right? Calories have to be pulled from somewhere, right? So that's going to be your sugar, you know, that's floating around in the blood. If you don't have anything floating around, right, that's going to be fat. Your brain is going to send that message through the nerves, right? Open up those fat cells so we can start the conversion process, right? Glycogen, glucose, the fatty acids, and all that stuff to break down, beta oxidation, right? And get us some energy from somewhere, because we need the calories. So 1 unit of carbs gives you 4 calories. 1 unit of fat gives you 9 calories, right? This is why you got to watch what you're eating. It's dangerous, you know, when you're eating a lot of fatty foods, because the fat stores, you know, your stomach is the same size. So you can't go by that. If you fill your stomach up with carbs, you're going to have a lot less calories in there. If you fill your stomach up with fat, you're going to have more than 2 times the amount of calories in there. That's going to result in you gaining weight a lot faster. So I learned that the hard way when I was in Philly. And Abundance Child, shout out to Abundance Child, she was spoiling me with a lot of those vegan cheesecakes. The vegan cheesecakes, you can make them 2 ways. You got the soy ones that's in the supermarkets. I didn't eat those. We made ours out of nuts, right? So you have dates and, you know, you whatever nuts you like. Man, this sounds crazy. Let me just pause it up and then, you know, we're just going to swipe the pause pass, right? But you make the base of the cheesecake out of dates and nuts, right? Whatever nuts you like. And then the actual cheesecake part is also nuts. You know what I'm saying? So you're getting a lot of fat, you know, and I was running through whole cheesecakes. I was eating 2-3 cheesecakes, you know, like I was going crazy. So I put on like 40 pounds in like 2 months. It was wild. All vegan. That's why I'm saying you can't just jump out there into the vegan universe and think, oh, this is vegan. This is good. Nah, vegan can still be fat. Vegan can still be, you know, Boca burgers or Morningstar. Vegan can be Oreo cookies. Like vegan doesn't, you know, like we have to watch what it is that we're doing, even still in the vegan paradigm. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to be careful. You know what I'm saying? Because you got vegan ice cream. Watch this. You got vegan ice cream and you got vegan milk. So you can make a vegan milkshake and still go get you a bag of Oreos. Listen, don't judge me. Okay? Don't judge me. Do not judge me. Support me. Don't judge me. Support me. I'm not, listen, we're not discussing whether or not Dr. EnQi has been making these milkshakes and eating said Oreos. That's not what we're doing. We're just discussing the possibility of how you could go wrong with a vegan. We just saying how you could go wrong with veganism, right? There's ways to go make the wrong turn with veganism. That's all we're saying, right? So it's important to know how to be able to program, you know, set your program to hit your specific goals. And keep in mind that exercising Like, unless you trying to be Chris Bumstead, right? Unless you're trying to be a bodybuilder for some type of trophy or some other shit, bodybuilding for a living, you need to exercise with the idea in mind that you're trying to, live a long time, right? That's what you're trying to do, extend your life. And so you do that by washing your ass, right? And so you want to exercise, full body exercise. Forget about that whole program of, Monday's chest, Tuesday's legs, right? I mean, you can still do it that way. You can still do it that way. There's nothing wrong with that. But, because we kind of finishing the conversation yesterday based on diabetes, cancer, and autoimmune disease. You know what I'm saying? So for the immune system, for people dealing with different situations, you want to work out your entire body. You want to work out all 29 of the muscles in your feet. You want to start your exercise there. You always want to start there. Heel raises and toe raises. Heel raises and toe raises. You got to do both. Heel raises and toe raises. If it feels weird, then that means those muscles are weak. It doesn't mean, this feel weird. I ain't doing this. I'm going to skip this. No. That means you need that. Those muscles are weak. Heel raises, toe raises. And if you're in your house, then you could do like this with your feet. If you're in the gym and you got sneakers and socks and sneakers and whatever, you can't really bunch up your toes like this. But if you do heel raises and toe raises, and then you squeeze your foot like into a, like make a toe fist, but do numbers like toe fist, relax, toe fist, relax, toe fist, relax, toe fist, relax. Like you do reps of them, 10 reps. You know what I'm saying? That's going to make sure you push all the blood down into the feet. This is to stop you from having to worry about getting your feet amputated in the future, right? Making sure before you do anything, you get that blood circulation down to your feet, right? So heel raises, toe raises, toe fists. That's going to get the blood circulating down to your feet. If you're in the gym somewhere, don't worry about the toe fists. Heel raises and toe raises, right? Get that blood down there to your feet. You got muscles in your feet. That's going to pull all the blood down into your feet. Then, you build, from there. The heel raises and the toe raises is going to also deal with the lower leg muscles, right? When you do the heel raises, the tiptoes, that's going to work on the calves. When you do the toe raises, that's going to get, what is that muscle? The gastrocnemius, the soleus gastrocnemius, something to that effect. That'll get the muscles in the front of your leg. Then, you can do heel over toe or sissy squats. Sissy squats, right, will get the knee ligaments and joints and all those muscles surrounding, your ACL, PCL, MCL, all that kind of stuff. And then you can do regular squats to get the rest of the leg, get some glutes in there. You know what I'm saying? Now you're getting, because that's where diabetes lives at. Diabetes lives in your legs. That's been my secret cheat code forever. That for people with diabetes, that's the secret cheat code, what I just gave you. Toe fists, heel raises, toe raises, sissy squats, regular squats. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you do the morning light, right? Morning light, that's where you hold a squat position for 60 seconds. That's going to do the same thing a lot easier. You know what I'm saying? But you got to remember, your largest muscle groups are in your legs, right? Think of it like this. 90% of the body, 80% of the body's sugar is used up. Well, yeah, 20% going to the brain, to another. We just make it simple. Majority of the body's glucose is used by the skeletal muscle, right? That's where the glucose is going to be burnt. So if you're having issues burning that, right, you want to focus on the legs because that's the largest muscle groups, right? So you do that exercise, and what are you doing? Every minute, depending on what it is every minute you're burning X amount of calories. Those calories comes in the form of sugar that you're clearing from your blood and from your liver. So this is how you clear the blood of glucose every time you exercise. Right? So that's another reason why it's good to have that chart from the algorithm book, because it's letting you know how you're clearing the sugar. Right? And as you clear the sugar, you do what? You clear the insulin. As you clear the insulin, you clear insulin receptors. Right? Which is a primary feature of cancer cells. Right? So you want to get your cells used to getting rid of all those receptors for insulin and glucose. And the way you do that is by getting rid of. Now, the other thing you could do is starve yourself, which is what these folks be trying to do. Oh, I'm fasting. I'm hard dry fasting for 3 days, 10 days, 2 weeks. I'm going on a fast. I ain't eating nothing. Okay, I ain't gonna say you're an idiot, but that's probably not the most intelligent thing to do. Right? Because your body needs nutrients every day. So why would you go on a hard fast where you don't consume anything? Where's your body getting the nutrients it needs? If you go on a hard fast, right? Your body needs water-soluble vitamins like 3 times a day. Especially if you have a high stress life, if you got a high stress job, or you in a bad relationship where you arguing all the time, or you got bad children, you always got to yell at them, or like you just in a high stress lifestyle, you got to take your water soluble vitamins, your B vitamins, like 5 times a day. The more stress in your life, the more B vitamins you need, because water soluble vitamins, you get rid of them every time you change your body's water. You get rid of them all the time. Remember yesterday we talked about conditioning the water. The water has to be conditioned, right? You need glutathione to be replenished in this water you add in. You need the ions, you need the vitamins. Water-soluble vitamins means that all the water in your body needs to be saturated with all of your B vitamins and your vitamin C at all times. At all times, all of the water in your body wants to be saturated with B vitamins and vitamin C and glutathione, right? All the time. At all times. So if you don't have those things there, then your water is not really able to do what it's supposed to do when it gets into certain compartments, right? So the B vitamins in the circulatory system is what helps to build the pigments, the heme and all that, right? The B vitamins inside your skeletal muscle. So in the blood, you got hemoglobin. Right? You got a whole bunch of globins, right? But just think of hemoglobin. It's easy to just think of hemoglobin, right? Because that's your blood, right? Well, it's the B vitamins from the water. Water soluble means it's in the water, that helps build up those pigments that's the blood. If you don't have the B vitamins, you can't build the pigments fast enough. And mind you, you're building millions of those every second, right? So you got to have the B vitamins there. In your skeletal muscle, you don't have the hemoglobin, you have myoglobin. So in the skeletal muscles, you need those same B vitamins in the water that's inside your muscles, because in the muscles, it has to build up the myoglobin. Now, you need that same B vitamins to circulate in the brain, because in the brain, you got to build up neuroglobin, right? So You got to have the B vitamins. And every time you get stressed out, right? When you feel that feeling of stress in your stomach, right? That's B vitamin depletion. Take that as an alarm system ringing. The B vitamin's gone. So you get into one. So say, for instance, you wake up in the morning and you had some B vitamins, right? Whether you took some supplements or whether you ate a box of blueberries, right? You got you some B vitamins in. Now you had an argument with your lady, or you had an argument with your boyfriend about whatever. Maybe the nigga left his socks in the middle of the floor or something. Or maybe the children broke the toilet or something. I don't know what happened. But you got, you just arguing with somebody, stressed out. Well, now you got to do that all again. You got to do that all over again. You got to take them B vitamins again. If you notice, B vitamins, the only thing that comes thousands and thousands of % times your daily dosage. Why is that? You never ask yourself, why is that? Like, when you go get a B vitamin, it's going to say 4,000, some crazy number past your daily amount that you need. Why? Because that daily amount that you need is based on a moment. This is what they figured out. This is what doctors and scientists figured out. That's based on a moment. Moment to moment, that's what you need. But because it's water soluble, it changes when you sweat, when you urinate, and more importantly, when you stress, when you deal with stress. The cortisol, the homocysteine, all those things flushes out the B vitamins. You use it. The B vitamins protect you. So you got to put them things back in immediately to be able to build up structures inside the body and all that. Yo, no chakra. See, we got the timetable is since put the no chakra. Y'all on the no diddy. I'm on the no chakra. Pause, no chakra. Pause, no chakras. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Even the beans. Yeah. Walnuts, avocados. I'm starting to get it. That's the learning process, bro. That's why we got to go over the information over and over. That's why y'all got to get the books. The days that I'm not going live or before the videos, after the videos, whatever, you got to read these books and study these books, because every time you get exposed to the information, that strengthens those neural networks. And it becomes easier and easier and easier to get. We're going to get to... So if you look at the book cover, right? Look at the book cover. And this is a very important concept that we have that's very controversial. Remember I said I ran this past some doctors and nurses that I know to just to test the waters with this. Right? Hold on. Look at the book cover. Let me put the book cover up here. Okay. So when you look at the book cover, you see that it says lymphatic immunity, but also at the top, you see it says, where is that? Oh, my hand is in back of it. But on the top, right under that symbol, you see it says sheet music. Sheet music. So we're going to talk about that. Sheet music. What does that mean? Yeah, I know everything is like symbolic. Like I said, I learned a lot from the study of masonry, right? Which obviously led to, the study of Kemet and some of those concepts, right? So that picture, so instead of me saying God is music, that's what that symbol is now. That's the God is music symbol, right? The treble clef with the O and the upside down bass clef.
That symbol, that's our symbol for God is music, right? So God is music, boom. When you see that symbol, that's what that means. So now I don't have to keep writing God is music all the time. When you see that symbol, that's what that is, right? But the sheet music is a concept that I've been developing over time to deal with the gobbledygook of science. The gobbledygook of science. You know what I'm saying? Because when you read my books, you're going to see like there's portions where I'm breaking something down. Then there's portions when you'll see a lot of stuff from encyclopedias. Then you'll see a lot of scientific journal articles, right? And as you go through the articles, you'll see a lot of technical terms, right? And so I realized, and going back to my older books, the books I don't even have anymore, like my Black genetics book. I wrote a book called The Quantum Mind State. This is when I used to live in Philly. I wrote a book called The Quantum Mind State, right? But the concept anyway, back then was the missing part of science, right? And the missing part of science stems from a outdated debate. But the world's science is still based on these dead guys from 100, 200 years ago, right? Our science is still based in guys that are dead, that have been dead for 100 plus years already, right? So they're from a different time in a different world, but we're still using those scientific models. And so we have to keep in mind all of these archaic things so that creates a dichotomy, a problem, a conundrum for people to be able to understand certain things and put certain things in perspective. So if you forget that the early scientists whose science we still use today was in the world where it was either atheists or God, and religion meant that you were dumb, and atheist meant that you were science. So you could not have God in your life and be a scientist. You could not be a respectable man of science unless you denounced God. That's literally how science was at one point. You had to be an atheist in order to be a respectable scientist, right? So the reason why that's important is because otherwise you're not going to understand how it is that you have an electron transport chain. Listen to this. You have an electron transport chain, right? And you have that in your mitochondria. You got about 2,000 mitochondria in your body cells. Then in the heart and the brain, those neurons have 2 million mitochondria. We know that the nerves and the neurons, it's electric, impulses, if you will, that turns into the neurotransmitters. We know that the heart is purely electric activity that opens and closes the valves, which lets the heart beat and all that. Like literally, it's electricity all over the body, right? But they leave electricity out of the textbooks. Why? Right? We know that iron is inside the blood everywhere. We know iron is inside the cerebral spinal fluid. We know iron is inside of the dopaminergic neurons, if nowhere else. We know iron's all over the body, right? But they leave magnetism out of the science books. We know that phosphorus in the presence of oxygen produces light, and ATP is oxidized to give cells energy. So it's literally light being produced all the time, all throughout your body, right? Every cell is producing light. That's literally what's going on is all the time. That's the energy is light, right? So we know the cells literally runs on light, but there's no light in the textbooks. So you have to ask yourself, if we got iron and electrons, electricity, light, all this going on, why is the light, the electricity, and the magnetism left out of the scientific textbooks? Well, the reason being is because they know the early roots of the Holy Trinity is based on electricity, light, and magnetism. So you can't have atheist science and still keep talking about energy, because energy is literally the stuff that you can't see and touch that controls the stuff you can see and touch. So the atheist mindset was, if we can't see it and touch it, then it's not real. But when you deal with biochemistry, you run face to face with God. Like, you can't get around it. It's like, wait, that stuff that we can't see and touch, yeah, that's the thing that animates our body, right? So face to face with God, boop, you know what I'm saying? So you run into that problem. So even when you look at, and this is kind of how we address it in the book, right? Let me see how we can do this. Let me see how we do this. Okay, let's go over here. Let's hit the share screen and get on some shit. Let's get on some shit, right? So, okay, so we over here. Let's look at what should we search? Okay, let's search this. Atomic spectroscopy. Yeah, let's do that. Let me see what pops up here. What do we got? We got some gobbledygook, or we got something simplified that we can make sense out of. Okay, wait a minute. I think we got something. Let me see. We cooking? This is a damn video. Hold on, man. We don't need a video. Let me see. Okay, the video is going crazy, but this is what I saw that I wanted to pull up. This. Right? So when it says absorption and emission, atomic absorption and emission, right? What it's talking about is every atom, and this is where it gets weird. Every atom on the periodic table, right, absorbs light, and that light makes the electrons jump around, and then that same atom emits light. So atoms absorb light and emit light constantly, right? And that forms a spectral fingerprint, if you will, because every atom has a different amount of electrons associated with it. And because it has a different amount of electrons in its valence, right? That means electrons moving around it. It absorbs and emits light different ways. right? And you can identify each atom based on the light it absorbs and emits. That's the science of spectroscopy, basically, right? So even when you take that understanding and you know that everything is made of atoms, you got to say to yourself, wait a minute. If atoms absorb and emit light, then that also means pretty much everything made out of atoms should be absorbing and emitting light. Well, where's the light? Where's the light part of chemistry, right? Listen, atoms are chemicals, right? Chemistry is the mixing of chemicals. Where is the light associated in chemistry, right? This is why from the beginning, what have we been discussing? What? Chemiluminescence. Chemiluminescence, the light from chemical reactions. Chemiluminescence, right? Simplified, right? That's why we've been having that conversation, right? And so the concept, right, of sheet music is this, a simplified way to understand this all, right? You have sheet music, and then you have the song itself. This is what I'm saying. You have sheet music, and then you have the song itself, right? We break this down in the new book. So you get the new book, it's going to have much more, breakdown, detail on it. Sheet music versus the song itself, right? Now, when you hear a song, do you actually need to know how to write or read sheet music in order to enjoy a song, right? Let me pull this up. Let's find us another, right? Okay, so we here. Let me see if we can find a dope song that I like. Sheet music. The Entertainer. Hold on. No, this is not me. This is a brother that sends me these gifts. Oh man, a bookcase? Hell yeah. Ballin'! I hit him, player. Haters calling. All right, so shout out. Woo! Shout out to somebody, damn it. Shout out to, I don't know who to say shout out to. Let me see. Who is this? Yeah, shout out to somebody. Who sent me this? Yeah, somebody didn't put no name on this, but shout out to you. I just want to say thank you to whoever you is. Shout out to somebody that sent me some type of bookcase. somebody sent me some type of bookcase in the mail. So I want to say thank you. I love you. I appreciate you, but I don't know who sent me this. So shout out to that person. And then also shout out to Ezra. Ezra is getting me in trouble, though. Let me tell you how Ezra is getting me in trouble, because Ezra keeps putting the wrong address on the merch. So Ezra is sending me new merch. Ooh, look at that right there, boy. Ah, it's gonna be lit. Come on, this is epic. Ooh. Yeah. So shout out to Ezra for sending me the new merch, right? You can go to AmericanHealer.website, click on the 3 lines and get to the merch, right? But Ezra, you got to put the right address on there, brother. I'm sending it to my neighbor, and they cussing me out. That's why the mail lady was just banging on the door. Ooh, hold up. Hold up. Okay, I got a new gym bag. Ooh. I got a new gym bag. You see, they got this, say the goat on it right there. Ah. What you looking at, Kylie? You want to see it? Huh? I say goat on it. What else we got? Uh-oh, we got the headbands. Oh, shit. I'm Afro Samurai for real now, even though I don't got no Afro. I'm Afro Samurai for real, though. Oh, I got the headbands. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. All right, LeBron, you out of here. LeBron, you out of here. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. I got the headbands. It's up. But Ezra, you got to send it to the right address, because the Chinese lady next door be sending it back. She be sending the stuff back. Okay, yeah, it's up now. I got the headbands. It's over. Right? But hold up. We talking about sheet music. I got the red joint and I got the yellow joint. Ooh, hold up, hold up, hold up. I got to be matching. Hold up, I got to be matching. Kylie, it look like you hating, bro. Stop hating, Kylie. You look like you hating, lady. Stop trying to hate on dad. You know what I'm saying? You can't hate on dad. Okay. This is dad's brand, so you can't hate on dad. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is dad's brand. Okay. All right, it's up. Ooh, hold up. Yeah, baby, with the yeah. Okay, it's up. All right. Anyway. All right. What the hell was I doing? Okay. Back to live action, damn it. All right, so we're looking for sheet music, right? Now, here is a song. This is one of my favorite piano songs, right? This is one of my favorite piano songs. Oh, hold on. You got to share it the right way. All right, now look. On the screen, what you're looking at is sheet music, right? On the screen, you're looking at sheet music. You don't have to know how to read or write music, but you can hear the music, you can feel the music, and you can enjoy the music. Do you understand? This is where we're at with science. So with this book, I'm hoping to bridge this gap for people, right? Because people are scared of science and they don't realize whether you can read it and understand it or not, you're still subject to it, right? And because of this beef between the atheists and the religious folks, the science textbooks left out life. They left life out of the books. Everything in science textbooks is dead. They left the life out. Remember, the life is the light, the electricity, and the magnetism. They left that out. But you have to be able to learn science in a way to add it back in. This is what I had to do as a kid. This is what I had to do as a kid to make it fun for me. To make science fun for me as a kid, because I was bored as hell in science class in school. The only science class I had fun in was when I was in junior high school, Miss Waters. And I was doing more of staring at Miss Waters than anything else. Miss Waters was a baddie. All of the boys loved to go to Miss Waters' class. And her name was Miss Waters, right? But other than that, science in school was boring. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't until later on that I figured out what was the excitement. The excitement was the electricity, the light, and the magnetism. If you think about the like science experiments that you do, science experiments is based on that. You know, when you want to see something move, explode, fizz up, or something to that effect, you want to see some action. You know what I'm saying? A little fake lava experiment or something. You know what I'm saying? You want to mix some ammonia and some bleach and see the reaction, the smell, you know what I'm saying? Or peroxide and, you know, baking soda or something. You know, you want to see a reaction. That is electric. That is magnetism. That is light, the part of science that you enjoy. The dead part is, you know, long chemical, you know, CH27F, this, that. When you look at them long, that's sheet music. When you go through some of the scientific articles and, you know, they're repetitive with, you know, CD8 this and IL4 and blah, blah, blah. You're seeing all these things and you don't know what the hell they're talking about. All of that is sheet music, right? And you can understand music without knowing how to read sheet music. This is what I need to get across to everybody. You can understand music without understanding how to read the sheet music. Now, you cannot, though. Here's the problem. And this is why, because we live in the music. God is music. You live in music. But you can't learn how to be a conductor without learning how to read and write that music. You can't learn health without learning to some degree how to read and write that music, how to simplify it, right? How to simplify the music, right? Music is binary coding. Music is binary coding. That whole complicated thing, did you see the music on the screen? That's binary coding. Just like how your computers go, You just might not be able to see it. But that's binary coding. Yeah, you might not be able to see it, but that's binary coding right there. Why? Because that all breaks down to half steps and whole steps. Half steps and whole steps. That's binary coding. So everything has a way to simplify things, right? And just because there was a beef, religious people, right? Religious people only believe in the music part, or at least back in the days. Now, science and God and the study of energy has integrated itself, right? Where, now you don't have to be an atheist in order to be a scientist, and you don't have to be an idiot if you believe in God. Like we're in a better space where things are coming together, right? But from the world where the originators of our written science comes from, right? Typically, the God-fearing people, the people that believe in God, or the people that fear God, whatever, however you want to see that, right? Those people just were energy maniacs. Everything is controlled by the stuff you can't see. And so the stuff that we can see and touch makes no sense to even put any time and energy into any of that, because, we need to deal with God. God's got us. God's in control. I don't have to worry about me doing anything. I'm not accountable for anything. I'm a victim. God's in control. If some bad shit happens, oh, well, God, I can't understand God's wisdom, Whereas scientists was like the ultimate accountability. Like, there is no God. I'm accountable for everything. Now it's kind of more of a synergistic space, right? But this is a beautiful time to be alive. This is a beautiful time to be alive, because now you don't have to make a choice between the sheet music, which is atoms on the periodic table and pure chemistry devoid of electricity and light and magnetism, right? And it's largely because there was only so far that science could go while hiding light, electricity, and magnetism. It kind of walked itself back into itself. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get away from God being light, right? The holy books all tell you God is light. So this is why those things was not in the text, because they're in the holy books. But you can't get away from it. You know what I'm saying? You can't get away from it. And so this is the reason why it's so long for people, taking so long for the world to give. What are y'all doing? Go and take out them books and start reading. But this is why it's taking the world so long to put melanocytes in their proper perspective. Because melanocytes directly receive light, and then that light, it becomes intelligence. It becomes intelligence. And this is why melanocytes are not only able to absorb light and blah, 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 but produce and absorb all of the different cytokines to be able to conduct the orchestra, right? They're able to conduct the orchestra, right? They produce antigens so they can direct the activity of the immune system by producing antigens. Antibodies, B cells, T cells all follow the lead. Macrophages, all of those white blood cells follow the lead of melanocytes. Langerhans cells, all of those cells follow the lead of melanocytes because that's the number one cell line in terms of producing antigens. Those are the number one dendritic cells in your body, right? Sound and light, the immune system, right? They go hand in hand like this with water. As water produces free electrons, the melanin is able to harness that and feed it to the NAD, right? So not only are they the central feature in light and sound, they're also the central feature of the immune system. They're also the central feature of the energy system by being able to feed those free electrons to NAD, right? We call that the EnQi cycle, right? So the reason why, like I said, is we got that institutionalized racism, and then we also dealing with the institutionalized atheism that's still in there, that blocks. So the sheet music. Let me pull up something for you. Let's pull up something. Let's hit the share screen. Let's hit the share screen. That's what I need. I need a shirt that say hit the share screen. Yo, I need a shirt that say hit the share screen. Let's pull up a scientific, let's pull up an article about, let's go NIH autoimmune disease, right? And let's just check out the article. Let's see what this say here. No, this ain't an article. Well, this is kind of a scientific blog. No, we want an article. Let's do that like this and see what comes up this way. No, why are you giving me like this? I don't want that. Let's try. Let's see if we can get something here. All right, boom. All right, so we look at this article, right? If we look at this article, now, this article right here, we're talking about, in this article, it's talking about, now, we would talk about drinking bitters. Kylie! I keep saying it, and every time I say the word bitters, it reminds me I should be drinking my bitters. Go get me that brown bottle of bitters off my bed. Right? But we would talk about drinking bitters. So you could drink bitters and have a bitter taste in your mouth. That's the music. That's the life. But now reading about it is something totally different. Right? You got to talk about T2Rs. Right? T2Rs. These are the bitter taste receptors. And when we get into these conversations here, or we get into these articles, this stuff here is where people get bored. And they're like, well, Ink, can I just go to your website and buy your bitters and just drink the bitters? Sure. I missed my shot this morning, so I had to take a double. Right? Can I just drink the bitters? You can. But you're not going to understand, right, the music until you start reading the sheet music. Right? You got to learn how to read the sheet music in order to really understand if you want to be able to conduct, right? You got to understand this stuff so you know what you're doing, right? So when you're listening to people, you can discern, okay, well, KT is saying that we should be drinking urine to get healthy, right? I need to understand that process to make that decision for myself. EnQi saying we should drink the bitters. KT saying we should drink the urine. But what should I be doing? Who should I listen to? Everyone sounds so convincing. Well, we got to be able to read the sheet music, right? And so when we get into this type of stuff where you got like hit, like this is a good paragraph, looks like, right? Look, one metabolic role of T2Rs is in the enteroendocrine cells, the EECs, of the gastrointestinal tract. EECs in the gut express T2Rs, orchestrate the release of glucagon-like peptide in response to bitter taste stimuli consumed with food, right? We just read this one sentence right here. Now, for some people, this is going to sound like the Charlie Brown teacher, right? Now, I'll read it back and explain it, right? One metabolic role of bitter, the metabolic bitters, the reason why you have bitters in your stomach, in your digestive system, right, is to help release glucagon peptides, right? Now, glucagon is what? What is glucagon? Right? We got to learn how to read the sheet music. What's glucagon? Glucagon is exactly what it sounds like. Gluca, right? Glucose, glucose, gone. Bye-bye, gone, right? Glucagon, glucose, gone, right? Glucagon is the body's opposite to insulin. You already got a cure for high insulin in your body. You got insulin and glucagon. When your insulin levels goes up too high, your body is supposed to be able to produce enough glucagon to get rid of the insulin. How is it that the world is filled with diabetics and everybody knows what insulin is, but nobody knows what glucagon is? Because niggas ain't studying the sheet music. They listening to the song, but nobody's taking time to figure out the sheet music. And so if you always want to be subject, if you always want to be a subject, then you don't have to. Something about boxes and plastics be messing me up. But if you always want to be subject, then you don't have to take your time to study and learn how to read the sheet music, right? You got to learn the sheet music. You got to learn how to read the music. Chemistry is that, right? So we have a little, we have a little thingy. Hold on. We got a little thingy, right? I be making my little diagrams and videos, right? So hold on. We got a little thingy, right? We got a little thingy. And this is just basically to remind you of this music. To remind you of the song. The song, Light, Electricity, and Magnetism. The sheet music is the chemistry part. But don't get confused and believe that the chemistry is all that's there. The chemistry is just there to explain to you the song. The song is the important thing. The chemistry is there to make sense out of the song. If you want to understand the song, if you want to understand your body, then you need to understand the chemistry. Sebi is correct when he says that there was a time period where we didn't need biochemistry. People are misinterpreting that into thinking that you don't need to read or you don't need to. No, there's a time period where we didn't need that stuff because we didn't have plastic. Forget about fake food. Like, forget about that for a second. We didn't have plastic. We didn't have cars and airplanes. So the water, the air quality, the water, like the world we live, we didn't have plastics. We didn't have big factories pumping out shit into the clouds in the sky. Like, so before you get into the food, you know what I'm saying? People focus on the food because they want to sell you some shit. Before you get into that, the environment was clean. Forget about the food. The environment was clean. So you didn't need to know the chemistry because the water was clean everywhere. The air was clean everywhere. You didn't have cars. You didn't have exhaust fumes and factory shit. And you didn't have none of this stuff. You didn't have garbage bags being dumped in the river. Like, you didn't have all this stuff. You didn't have plastic bottle stuff going into your body. Like, you didn't have none PCBs and BC. You didn't have none of that stuff to worry about. So you didn't need to figure out this stuff. The body was designed to work with the environment and everything was. But as we started to make up stuff, we, people, as we started to invent stuff, and here's the difference between the ancient technology and the modern technology. Modern technology, because we have separated the sheet music from the songs, because we separated God from science, because we separated life from the ones and the zeros, right? Technology now has taken over the world. The fake stuff, the dead stuff, right? The dead stuff is now taken over, where autoimmune disease and allergies is going like this. It's on the rise. It's going up. The reason being is because we're more focused on making our environments habitable for our technology, right? We want everything to be super sanitized because your laptops, your cameras, you know, if they get dust in it, then they start to fail. We're not thinking about, well, what happens when we get dust and chemicals and all this stuff build up in our lymphatic system? We more worried about what happens when it gets backed up into our laptop, you know. I worked at Verizon Wireless for years. And let me tell you, I worked at Verizon Wireless during the time of transition from basic flip phones to the time when the Motorola Razr first came out. I watched it all from inside the business, not as a customer. I was in the business. I saw the very first Treo. I saw the very first BlackBerry. I witnessed these things. I witnessed the transition to smartphones versus BlackBerry. Like, I was there when that whole war took place. BlackBerry was God, and then The Treos and the Samsungs took them down. It was really the Samsung, because the Samsung smartphone was everything. That was the real smartphone. Them phones could be a remote for your TV, stereo, all kind of shit. All the infrareds, like it was, them phones was crazy. You know what I'm saying? Those was the first phones that initiated the transition to tablets and stuff like that. Before Apple got in the game. Apple wasn't in the game. iPhone hadn't come out yet. You know what I'm saying? So I witnessed it. It was hell. Listen to me. It was hell when them first phones, because when you got flip phones and all that, you don't need a screen protector. You didn't need phone insurance. People wasn't using their phones to do nothing more than call and text. So people didn't have their phone in their hand all the time. You couldn't get these people to go insurance and screen protectors and cases and all that. You couldn't get them to do that. Now, fast forward, with all glass phones, glass in the front, glass in the back, drop it one time, $200 worth of damage. No, put the insurance on there. Let me get the screen protectors. And they got different versions of screen protectors and all that. And we put a lot of time and energy into protecting the cell phone, into protecting the laptop, but we don't invest the time and the money into protecting the real technology, right? People will watch Dr. EnQi videos, go get a $20 bag of weed, but they won't send $20 on the Cash App. They'll go get a $20 bag of weed, but they won't buy a $20 book. That's a problem. You buy $100 sneakers, but you're not going to invest $100. You need to go buy 5 books. I'm not saying don't get the sneakers, but I'm saying also make sure you get the books first. Get the books first, then get the sneakers. Change the priority system. If you spent $1,000 on weed last month, or you go out to the bar, or you go out to dinner, you take shorty out to dinner, you spend $300-400 at dinner. Then you go on to Amazon, you're like, damn, this book is $25. It's expensive. Huh? My books used to be $100, $200, $300. So these books for $20, $30, and $40 on Amazon is cheap now. You're supposed to grab these joints, 5 and 6 of them at a time. If you go to the bar and you buying bottles, you're supposed to put $50 on the Cash App, because you got to invest in the study of your technology, your biochemistry. And this is what we've been able to do with your support. We've been able to break this thing all the way down to a fine level of understanding. Like, we got this thing down to a science now. Let me show you what I'm talking about. We got this thing down to a science. Right? We got this thing down to a science. Well, we've been able to take what Dr. Robert Becker started, and then Dr. Sebi took to another level, right? I throw Fritz Pop in there just out of respect, you know what I'm saying? But he was doing more like studying fruits and plants and, insects. And Fritz Pop wasn't really studying the human body, right? But Dr. Sebi, he was, the body's electric, but he wasn't really going into the science. So you have to respect Dr. Becker, because he was really going into the sheet music. But he didn't take it this far. He didn't give the people this, what we're giving the people. Right? If the body's electric, let's pinpoint the electronic devices so we could better understand how to fuel our body, how to repair our body. If the body's electric, that means it's a system of circuits and circuitry, right? We need to understand the circuitry understand the terminology so we know how these things work. That's how we put the video together, and you see a simplified version of the video in terms of hydroelectric energy. The mic was off. My bad. My bad. The mic was off. God damn it. So hold on. So here's what I was saying. In the video, we're looking at some of the math and the formulas popping up on the screen, right? The reason why that's important is because now you're talking about the conversion of energy. So it's levels to how we looking at, right? The sheet music is popping up. Okay, we take it up. Okay, we didn't lose that much, only a few minutes. All right. So we're talking about the conversion of energy, right? And we spoke earlier about fat being dirty, storing bacteria, and this, and that, and all this. Okay. Well, now we can put a different picture in our mind of fat, right? Because your fat molecules usually is going to be glucose 6-phosphate. Glucose 6-phosphate, right? Right. Where is the likes? We got 50, 60 people in here with 10 people hitting the thumbs up. What are we doing? We should have at least 40 to 50 likes on the like button. What are we doing? What are we doing? That's free to do. That, look, now imagine that. If we got 50 people watching and 10 people hit the like button. If only 10 people hit the like button, you can imagine only one person probably hit a Cash App. If out of 50 people, I could only get 10 people to hit the like button, what are we doing? Right? Everybody can't be. Hold on, listen. If we take 19 keys, right? 19 keys watches my videos to create content on his page. If we take T-Walk the Hawk, he watches my videos to create remix shit and to make content on his page. Yaki, KT, Victor, like if we take the 5 or 10 guys that watch my videos to remix shit onto their page out of the 50, right? We should still have 40 people to hitting the like button. Yo, listen. Y'all gotta hit the like button. Right? So, yeah, gotta hit the like button. That's how the video goes into the algorithm so people can see it. Right? Now, what the bitters do, the aftertaste is really what's crazy. The bitters stimulates glucagon, right? That means it stimulates your body to clean out those insulin and insulin receptors. So that means it directly fights the conversion of healthy cells to cancer cells by constantly stimulating your cells to get rid of those receptors. Remember, you need the extra receptors on the cells for them to become cancerous. All cancer cells have higher amounts of insulin receptors. This is how they starve out the other cells, right? If we get into the practice of that, and our bitters formula is formulated in a way to get all of the receptors active. To get all of the receptors active, right? Now, the energy, we're looking at fat as stored energy, right? Not just stored sugar, because it's glucose 6-phosphate. That means the sugar is attached to phosphate. So it's stored energy in these fat cells. This is where the nerve connection to the fat cells is important, right? The nerve connection to these fat cells is important. So now we have a loop of energy, right? So look, we did the water wheel. We talked about how the water wheel works. Digestive system, circulatory system, fascia system, lymphatic system, back to the circulatory system. That's a loop. Now we're looking at the energy side of it, right? You have water converting potential energy to kinetic energy just by movement, rotational energy, just by movement. That basic energy is powering the movement in the circulatory system. The circulatory system is iron and copper. So now this is a generator for power, right? On top of that, you have the nervous system, which is cycling via messages, intelligent power, right? We talked about that when we talked about transformers and transducers. The only difference between a transformer and a transducer is what the energy being conducted is used for. If the energy being conducted through a device that can change the type of energy to another form or distribute it amongst multiple circuits, is doing that to power it, then it's called a transformer. If it's doing that with data or information, then it's called a transducer. That's the only difference, right? But it's still light, electricity, and magnetism, right? So if you use one or more of those three to power something, you would need transformers to amplify, downgrade, or change that into another type of energy, and then break that up for multiple circuits. That's going to be a transformer. If you're doing that with information, that's going to be a transducer. So you got to realize, though, it's the same substance. It's still going to be one of those three. That's all we got. It's not another thing out here. All we got: light, electricity, and magnetism. We don't have other. That's it. It's just them three. So you can use electricity for all, because electricity generates light, generates magnetism, right? If you look at plasma, plasma's not really, plasma just carries electricity. So that's what plasma does. Plasma carries electric currents. Electric currents carry magnetic fields. That's how plasma gets linked into the story. That's why plasma is important in your body and in the sky, because plasma carries waves of electricity, right? In your body, those waves of electricity are in the forms of ions, but you can't lose sight of the music from studying the sheet music, which is what people will do. They will study the movement of ions and forget that the movement of ions inside your body is the movement of electricity. The movement of electricity is the movement of magnetism. You see what I'm saying? I want y'all to get this understanding between sheet music and actual songs. You're studying the sheet music to get a better, deeper, more full understanding of the song. But you can't study the sheet music and forget that the song exists. This is what science will lead you to do. You know what I'm saying? You'll be studying ions and you'll forget the only purpose for you to understand ions in the first place is so you can understand electricity in the body. The reason why you study plasma in the body is so you can understand the movement of ions. In the body, plasma carries ions around. So that means even in the body, plasmas carry an electric current, right? An electric current, we know, carries magnetic fields with it, right? And when you have what? Alternating electric and magnetic waves, what is that? What is alternating electric and magnetic waves? Light. So plasma carries electricity and magnetism, and electricity carries magnetism. And when you have alternating electricity and magnetism, you have light. See how to simplify that? So we can't forget why we're doing a thing. We're studying the sheet music so we could better understand the song. And then as we learn how to read and write music, now we are in the space where we can be conductors, right? A conductor, now you in charge of your own health. You're in charge of your own song, your own universe, right? Your own universe, as opposed to trying to watch and not understand because you don't know. Everybody sound good. Alkaline City saying something. Victor saying eat rattlesnakes. Yo, that is the most plausible. That is the most plausible thing of all time, right? Eat rattlesnakes. Appreciate you. Okay. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, damn it. Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Even the people that's not watching still. Right? Sometimes people got stuff to do. So they got to tune out and tune back in. And people jump in and jump out. But they'll catch up and watch the video later when they get back home or whatever the case may be. But this is why we got to understand the difference between the sheet music and the song. We cannot get a better understanding of the music until we start to understand the sheet music. You know what I'm saying? The notes. Even when we talking about actual music, have you ever noticed the difference between producers? Right? Think about all the best producers, whether you listen to R&B, rap, it don't matter. Notice that all the best producers, when you see them finally do an interview, the niggas be like, oh yeah, I know how to play keyboard. Oh yeah, I know how to play piano. Oh yeah, my mom's had me playing instruments since I was a little kid. Or, you know, and they downplay it. But listen, it don't matter whether them niggas learned how to play the horn, the guitar, the piano. It don't matter what instrument they was learning. In order to learn how to play an instrument, you have to learn how to read and write music. That's the secret of all producers. The good ones, they know actual music. So they're playing with the R&B and the samples, and they playing with all that. But the reason why their shit sounds and feels different, the reason why their shit sounds and feels different is because they actually know how to write and read sheet music. They understand notes, tonality, pitch, depth. You know what I'm saying? Timber. They understand these things. And this is where we're going to make a full circle. How much time we been on today? 3 hours? We might do it another day. We might do it tomorrow or something. But this is where we go all the way back to the 3, 4, 5 triangle. Right? Because in order to understand electromagnetism, light, electricity, and magnetism, right? In order to understand those three things, because most of the light that exists is not visible. Most light is not visible. So we only have a small amount of light that we can study. To an extent. Now we got technology. We got a lot deeper. You know what I'm saying? But to a large extent, until recently too, only a small amount of light we could study. Visible light. The rest of the light, you know, we had no understanding. Right? That's what made it amazing when they created, you know, radio and TV and now we got Wi-Fi and, you know, we're learning more about the light that's not visible. That's how we got these things, right? Magnetism. You can't see a magnetic field. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't see these things. You don't see electricity, right? But we know that those things are electric waves, magnetic waves, and then in terms of light, we understand light as electromagnetic waves, right? But what can we study to get a better understanding of all those things? Mechanical waves, longitudinal waves. Mechanical waves, longitudinal waves are what? Sound. Sound. This is why people was asking and some people was getting confused. A lot of people. They was like, wait a minute, is EnQi contradicting himself? Because we hear EnQi used to say all the time that God is light. He still say it sometime. But then in all his books and stuff, he keeps saying God is music. Is God music or is God light? Which one is it, EnQi? Is God light or is God music? Which one is it? Well, you have to understand the body. Right? Your body interprets everything as sound. Your body interprets everything as sound. Everything is sound. God is music. Light, right? Let's take light, for example, right? Because we know that light doesn't have, photon doesn't have mass, right? So light is the most mysterious of them all, right? We know we have pigment, right? And so pigment absorbs light, right? And then converts that light into something that we can use, whether it's like, let's use our eyes, for example. So we can try to keep it as simple as possible. Our eyes absorb light inside our different pigments, you know, rhodopsin, panopsin, melanin, etc., right? So the light is absorbed and then it's converted. And we'll say you got 2 tracks, basically, right? Some of those signals is going to go to the optic track so that we can create pictures, right? And see the world around us. And then some of that is going to go to the hypothalamus so that we can create chemicals and hormones and peptides and electric impulses and all of that based on the information of what's happening around us, right? Now, where does the music come in? Where does the sound come in? Well, the sound comes in how pigments work. All proteins is the same, right? But pigments specifically absorb light, Well, the way it works is when the light hits the pigment actually, it transforms. It changes shape. That shape change, right? When the pigment changes shape, that changes the geometry. When the geometry changes, what does that change? Remember what I told you, form denotes function. The shape of a thing controls what? The energy moving around in it. So when the light hits the pigment and the pigment changes shape, right? That changes what? The energy. That change in energy from the change of shape, the geometry, is where the electric signal comes from. Because now, when the protein, the pigment changes shape, the ions, right? The ions shift, the shift in ions, right? That's all movement, right? The changing of shape. See, even light we can't see is still light. Even sound that we can't hear is still sound. And we know if something is moving, we know that's sound. It's generating mechanical waves, longitudinal waves. We know that sound, regardless to whether it's within our hearing range or not. Right? So the change in shape means that before the electric current is produced, before there's an ionic signal going to the optic center or the hypothalamus, it's sound, it's vibration, right? Right. Maybe I need to put that song on real quick. I don't even know if that's in this computer still. Let me see if that's in here. Nope, that ain't in here. I don't know what I did with that. Oh, wait a minute. Hold up. I think I got something.
I'm about to hit the gym, I need buzz this time. Last time it was, hold up, that's my jam. I'm about to turn this up now, I need the walls to, this the Grammy winner, nominate the $sign Minister EnQi, send me some. Piano is the heart of instruments, airstream percussion, no coincidence. We hear with our mind, not with our ears. That's why here is to hear. We affect our peers deeper than chakras. Spare them in the opera, the freak accent that made the gun you was low to start popping your sarcophagus, your flow, hustle 3-6 mafia. The chick singing, hook niggas like tilapia. Octet the octo, chakra zones. A 6% difference in frequency, folks. 6 the magnetic hexagon carbon, flesh and vibrating strings, IG carbon, saving the sergeant, OP squad, living behind bars. We coming for the tune guard. There's 48 frequencies, holding niggas. Create the illusion of motion pictures on shake for that money, take for that money, make no mistake, next break for the money, bake cake for the money, take race for the money.
Yeah, I made that beat right there. That's me producing. Right? But so everything got to be converted to mechanical waves in the body before the movement of ions. The movement of ions is what moves electricity in the body. So everything is sound. Water moving around in the body, the plasma moving around in the body is sound. Everything is sound. Inside the eyes, you have the vitreous fluid, right? So all of that's generating sound. All that's generating the vibration, sound. Now you have movement. And then the movement now, we're changing shapes, conformational changes. Now you have ions moving. Now you have electricity moving. Once you have electricity moving, you have magnetic fields moving. Right? And so this is more of us understanding the sheet music, right? Because when we're talking about cell chemistry, we're going to be talking about, well, like we already discussing, like you have porins, you have channels, gates, pumps. All those is just, think of this, right? The easiest way to understand them is by thinking of tubes, right? But that's not what they really are, right? That's not what they really are. So when you think of a cell and you think of like a gate or a porin or a pump, or that's not exactly the truth. These things are proteins that are in the membrane. And what actually happens is, right? Like let's say for instance, an ion want to get into the cell from outside the cell, wants to, like the ion is thinking, but right, an ion has to be transferred inside. Each ion has an electrical signature, right? When it attaches itself to a protein, that electric signature, right, that extra energy, that charge changes the shape of the protein, right? To allow that ion to pass through and go on the inside. But it's not just the passage of the ion from the outside of the cell to the inside, because everywhere that charge goes, it changes the value of everything around it. So it's constantly changing the shapes of things. This is how things inside a cell are able to find each other, and just how you get chemistry. Stuff bumps into each other, and based on the charge values, things are attracted or repelled. We might be going too crazy. This might be overwhelming. We over 3 hours. I know attention spans is, but in order for us to keep going, because in the new book, okay, so let me show you. Not the newest book. The newest book has a piano on it. The book before that has the guitar on it, right? EnQi and the Brainwave. Inside that book, we spend a lot of time talking about how herbs work, how herbs actually work, because nobody really has taught that. Nobody has really done a hardcore, like cold lesson on how herbs work. So this is why we need to have the sheet music conversation before we get too deep into how herbs work. Otherwise, it'd be a bunch of scientific-y gobbledygook, and then people won't get it. You know what I'm saying? But we need to have this conversation so we learn how herbs work in the first place, right? Because everybody talking about herbs, and you got all these goofy Sabi niggas, Victor, Alkaline City. Yo, what's the other one though? Hold up, it's another nigga, the one that sold Charlemagne the sea moss. He said he got 256 minerals. Oh shit. Isaiah Bowman. Oh my God. Yo, goof troop. You know what I'm saying? Like crazy shit. So we got to learn how herbs work. And when we learn how herbs work, we'll learn that the secret of herbs has nothing to do with minerals. Has nothing to do with minerals. Every single herb got a whole bunch of minerals in it. That's not it. Right? The main thing inside of plants that gives your body some sort of medicinal thing is the bitters or the alkaloids. Alkaloids, right? The alkaloids, the terpenes, You know, people that's in the cannabis community, they know about terps. Oh yeah, yo, yeah, nah, that joint crazy with the terps. You know, it's gonna have you high as hell. But that's a class of, you know, chemicals, if you will, inside of plants. And so all of this, we've been simplifying binary coding, right? Binary coding. All of these different compounds has to create movement. They have to create movement by being accepted by a receptor. There has to be a cell receptor somewhere for these things, right? And the cell receptor for whatever specific nutrient it is has to create a response inside the cell, one way, shape, form, or fashion. So anyway, in the book, we go into, you know, we try to make it as plain as possible how herbs actually work, right? Yeah, because once we understand the body's electric, then we got to understand all the different types of electronic devices, right? Okay, the cell itself, the gel that we know our cells are, is a liquid crystal. Great. So we have a liquid crystal cell. What else do we got going on in there? The membrane, right? The membrane supplies that liquid crystal with gates and channels, right? Think about that. Gates and channels. So each one of your cells is a chip, a computer chip. That's all a computer chip actually is. It's a crystal with specifically, you know, designed gates and channels for power and information to move in, out, be stored, transduced, transformed. That's what a cell is, right? The same way we got fiber optics as well as coaxial cables in our body. We have a circulatory system and we have a nervous system. Right? Everything in detail. All of the electronics are there. Right? All of the different electronics are there. And the terminology is there. It's been sitting there. It's been sitting there for forever. And it didn't click. I'm gonna tell you when it clicked for me. And I knew I had to write a book about this. When my children asked me, Dad, how come the Wi-Fi, you know, how come the Wi-Fi is called a hotspot? And also places where people are getting sick. This is back in 2020. In 2020, my girls asked me, Dad, how come the Wi-Fi is called a hotspot, but also, you know, places where people are getting sick from the corona? You know what I'm saying? How come that's called a hotspot too? And then I had to explain this whole conversation about the body being electric and electronics, and the same way computers get viruses, people get viruses, like all of these, you know, transmission, viral transmission, you know what I'm saying? Like all these things. I was like, this is a book. This is a book. I don't know why this book hasn't been written yet, but you know, my father taught me when I was a kid, well, when there's a book that you're looking for that hasn't been written, it's your job to write the book. So we have a whole huge series of books to expound on these things so we can understand hydrohemophotophysicology, right? Hydrohemophotophysicology. Hydro, water, hemo, blood, pigment, photo, light, physiology. That's what your body is based on. Light, pigment, and water. Light, pigment, and water gets us to understand the song. The song. That's what we need to understand, the song. The reason why I went with hemo instead of melano, you know, it could have been, I was in a toss-up when I was thinking of the name. It was going to be hydromelanophotophysicology, but the hydrohemo, it just had a better ring to it. It just had a better ring to it. You know what I'm saying? And blood is the basis for everything, right? So we don't get into no melanocytes, T cells, like we don't get into no neurons. None of that means anything without the blood. The blood is the foundation of everything. So we went hydrohemophoto, right? And build off of that. So go get them books. Right? Go get them books. Peace and blessings out there to everybody. My name is Dr. EnQi, the founder of the Melanin versus Diabetes movement and ministry. Our goal is to fight diabetes by creating a biochemically literate society, one book at a time, one person at a time, one household at a time. Join us now by going to Amazon.com and getting all of the books, getting all of the books that you can afford, even if you can't read them all. Share them with family, share them with loved ones. Let's begin to study. And if you need tutoring sessions are available at AmericanHealer.website. I can give you one-on-one tutoring through these books. Let's build a biochemically literate society, one person at a time. Thanks in advance.
It ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun, you heard?